Yes, thank you very much, Ray. And as you say, this really was the heartland of the game when professional football started back in the last century. So as this famous old club enters new territory, let's start by looking at the Blackburn Rovers lineup. It's the side that beat Everton here on Saturday. 3 non-English players according to UEFA rules. Number 2, Henrik Berg of Norway. Number 5, Colin Hendry of Scotland. And number 8, Robbie Slater, who plays for Australia. There's an £8.3 million striking partnership of Sutton and Shearer, but Blackburn still have about £9 million worth of talent on the treatment table. Batty, Warhurst, Newell and Gallagher all missed this first European occasion at Ewood Park through injury. Trelleborgs are a team of part-timers who include a lorry driver, a carpenter, a storekeeper and an insurance salesman. The Polish goalkeeper Jankowski is their only full-time professional. Number 8, Leif Enquist, their best-known player. He was in the 1990 World Cup. And number 9, Joachim Karlsson, is their hottest property. He's their top scorer and has been watched by 3 English clubs. And he'll be relishing perhaps the comparison with Chris Sutton, the £5 million man who, unlike most of his Blackburn colleagues, can point to recent European experience. He was part of the Norwich team that did so well in this UEFA competition last season. Our officials tonight are all from Germany. Hartmut Stramper, the referee, has already made one decision. There was a clash of shorts, and Trelleborgs, who did want to wear white shorts, had to borrow a set of red shorts from the Blackburn club. Not the most auspicious start for them, but they have played a couple of European games already. They came through a qualifying match against a team from the Faroe Islands. This tonight, on a lovely pitch, will be a much tougher assignment. Slater gets the ball forward. Indeed, the Trelleborg coach was telling me today that the first 15 minutes are vital for his team. They're expecting to do a lot of defending. Here's Berg. That was to Ripley. Tony Gale playing at the back for Blackburn. He was a free transfer man just over a month ago. Now times change. Ripley. This is Blixt, number 11, pushing him a bit. And the Blackburn manager, who had such vast European experience as a player and was so successful with Liverpool. And the free kick is quickly taken. This is Berg. Away by Sandell for the Swedes. It's quite an experience to come to the rebuilt Ewood Park, and at the moment the Swedes have their first attack with Sandell on the ball. Karlsson in the middle. 3 new stands have been built here in double quick time, and that's not to mention the £27 million that's been spent on the team, courtesy of Mr. Jack Walker. Free kick to Trelleborg, which is a town in the southern part of Sweden, not far from Malmö, near the German border. Trevor Brookings with me.
Yeah, it's a daunting task, I think, for the visitors. Particularly first opportunity for me to have a look at the live, the strike force of Sutton and Shearer together, and I think that's the main focus of attention. They thrive on a good supply, and certainly Kenny Dalglish emphasises that with getting the side to have width. Ripley on the right, Wilcox on the left, and Lasseau and Berg, the 2 fullbacks, will also support at every opportunity.
Yes, Shearer just closing in there as the goalkeeper kicks. This is Karlsson. There are 2 Karlssons in the Trelleborg side. They're not related. One's up front and one's in defence. This is Sherwood, the Blackburn captain, looking for Ripley. And there is Christian Karlsson forcing the goal kick. Only 3 sides of the ground being used tonight at Ewood Park, where the capacity eventually, when the work is completed on the stand we're sitting in, will be around 30,000. That's Colin Hendry with a headband to protect a gash he got at Arsenal the other week. Here's Shearer. Ripley. And Sherwood. Slater, who's been playing in the David Batty role, he gets a free kick there. Enquist to Severine, number 7. Wide on the right is Hansen. That's not Alan, by the way, it's Michael Hansen, a young Swedish part-timer. Gets the ball now. And not a bad pass from him either to Carlson. This is Blixt, number 11. And there's one for Tim Flowers to claim.
That was a good build-up by Trelleborg, and then Blixt from out wide on the left hung a cross up in the air, and that's quite easy and comfortable for somebody of the quality of Tim Flowers. At the moment, I think Blackburn just haven't taken the grip on the game everyone anticipated, and perhaps defending a bit deep and allowing the Swedish side in midfield to enjoy a bit of too much possession.
Well, Europe is a learning experience, as Norwich found last season when they learned very fast. Here's Maatsen. And here's Carlson, Joachim Carlson. Hansen making ground in the centre, so is Sandell here. Appropriately enough, Michael Hansen is wearing number 6. That's Shearer to Sutton. It needed 2 defenders. Blackburn have won all their games at Ewood Park so far this season and have yet to concede a goal here. So it's quite an ordeal for the Swedish team, who themselves lost in the league on Saturday and are lying 8th out of 14 in the Swedish equivalent to our Premiership. Shearer. Touch for the German referee. Ripley. He's gone very European, Stuart Ripley. He's just passed his A-level French with an A grade, which does just go to show that there are footballers around who can do rather more than kick a ball, Mr. Brooking.
Indeed. I hope he doesn't know something that Kenny Dalglish does. It was just to keep his mind active, was it, John?
Well, I gather it was virtually self-taught, so it's no mean effort. Here's a man who can also speak French, Robbie Slater. He came from a French club to Blackburn, and he's found Hendry. Maatsen with the header. And this is Blixt. Ripley. Difficult one, perhaps, the defender to cope with. They've been looking at Ripley on video, Trelleborg, and they're really worried about his pace down the right-hand side.
Well, he's had a lot of the ball early on, and more often than not, at least 2 Trelleborg players have ganged up on him, and it's not going to be easy for him to get those crosses in. Look, 2 of them closing him down. He couldn't quite whip his ankle around and drag it away from the keeper, and he was always going to catch that. Very important, though, Ripley, to Blackburn's play. He seems to perhaps be a better crosser than Jason Wilcox, who Wilcox tends to run with it more, but Ripley has been an important part of their progress over, the last 18 months, 2 years.
It's a free kick taken by Carlson for Trelleborg. That's Hansen out on the right, back into Enquist. Floated in for Sandell. Gale heads clear. This is Blixt. Now it's Severin. Drossen, the right back and captain, into Enquist. Nice technique. Berg, Slater, Gale. All the way across the back line to Graham Lasso. Tim Sherwood. Lasso was looking up to see whether Sutton and Shearer were on for an early ball forward, but didn't seem as though they were. Here's Hendry.
Move the ball!
And that's put them in a difficult spot, Blackburn. This is Hansen on the right. He's got, I was going to say he's got Carlson in a good position, but he wasted the cross.
Well, a few cries of anguish from home supporters, and I think most of the players could feel that edge as well, because they hadn't settled down very well. They're squandering possession, and they've lost it in one or two dangerous situations, but fortunately Trelleborg haven't quite got that quality in attack that might have made them pay. But and it's very important, of course, in your home legs not to concede a sloppy soft goal, because an away goal at this level can be very effective and put a lot of anxiety then in the rest of the play.
Yes, it's Carlson here for Trelleborg, offside against Sandell, although I should point out that now we're into European competition, the new FIFA directives still apply, and the referee and linesman from Germany will presumably be enforcing them in the way that our referees have in the Premiership. It's worldwide now, the new approach. I won't say new laws, because they're not, it's just interpretation. Lasso coming forward. Ripley's moved inside. Wilcox. Sutton and Shearer waiting. And there, nearly Shearer, it may still be, and that back pass by Blixt.
That's not quite the position to be back passing. He didn't know what to do with it, just toe-ended it across the face of the goal. The goalkeeper couldn't pick it up, but they managed to scramble it clear, and that was the first bit of anxiety they've had.
Hendry intercepting, this is Berg. Ripley. Now Blixt. Again, there would have been an offside had that ball gone through, but advantage applied. Ripley, Sutton is in the centre. This is Brawson to Hansen. Slater. Berg. Up goes Sutton, marked by Magnus Andersson. They don't play a sweeper system, the Swedish team. It's a flat back four, zonal marking, so we'll see how that works out against the expensive Blackburn strike force. Bit of holding there on Sutton. He was trying to set Wilcox up. This is Sandell. And again, swift counter-attack by Trelleborg. Carlson.
Well, it's appealing against the lines, but I did think it was obstruction. I think he did run across him. Colin Hendry's just got to accept the decision. There's no need to argue about it. It's been given against him. Got to get back and mark up.
Yes, they've got one very big fellow they can send up from the back. There he is, the number 3, Carlson, has joined those gathered on the edge of the area. And with the left footer out there, it could well be the in-swinger. Matson strikes. Oh, number 3, Carlson stayed forward.
Nearly one of those situations where a mishit shot suddenly opens up the defence. He tried to hook it on, but hit it tamely and comfortably safe. But at the moment, they're still not passing it smoothly, Blackburn. And interesting, some of the runs in the opening quarter of an hour, Sutton and Shearer, as such, quite often are both making forward runs, no one coming short. Here they are defending, and it was cut out of the near post. You see the mishit shot and a bit of a tame hook on, and Tim Flower's not troubled with that. But at the moment, no one coming short out the front two, and so the two markers are dealing with it very well. They're competing, quite tenacious in the tackle, and they can't hold up play.
Well, Trelleborg have just about survived that first 15 minutes they were so anxious about. Slater coming through, but not collecting the ball. Now Lasso. Hendry finding Sherwood, onto Berg. Snapped up again by Sherwood, offside against Shearer.
You mentioned the videos, and definitely the Swedish team, Trelleborg, have looked at how they like to play the ball wide, and what they're doing, they're blocking off the width. You saw on 2 occasions there, Lasso had it on the left, then Berg had it on the right, and they blocked off the route to the 2 wide wingers, and so they've got to play it in the middle, and that's where it's breaking down. They can't get out wide, and suddenly just the defenders are coming in front of Shearer and Sutton, so they've certainly got to vary it a little bit more.
Yes, it was significant perhaps that Tom Pryle, the manager, was talking far more about Ripley than he was about Shearer and Sutton when he planned the tactics. Here's the other wide man, Wilcox. And there is Shearer, and Slater was running on and may still be. Hansen. A bit tight in there. Slater had to turn back. Finds Sherwood. They're the 2 central midfield players for Blackburn, and they've worked the ball out to Lasso. Shearer up with Carlson, and conceding a few inches too to the big fellow.
Bringing it down there. They've had a complete range of transfers here at Blackburn in the summer. Tony Gale for a free transfer, Robbie Slater 300,000, and Chris Sutton 5 million.
Magnus Anderson going across there to trip Jason Wilcox. I talked about the FIFA law directive. I thought that might have been a case of a possible yellow card. Anyway, it's a free kick to Blackburn. They'll settle for that. Tony Gale on his way forward then. Headed by the Swedish defender. It'll be a corner. It was number 4 Brawson, and Anderson standing behind him has now got to keep an eye on Shearer, because these set plays are where Blackburn will be hoping to achieve something. They've sent Hendry forward as well. Played short. Here's Wilcox. Set up for Berg. In short again. Ripley. Shearer's in the 6-yard box. Gale is, well, in fact he's changing places with him now. Hendry and Sutton coming in from deeper. There's Gale. Trelleborgs clear their lines.
Yes, Tony Gallagher, often when he was at West Ham, used to like to drift up towards the near post and just come off short and flick it on, and a number of times he always got his head to the ball. But again, Swedish side Trelleborg defending well at the moment, and I'm sure their manager delighted, as you say, to get through a crucial 20 minutes without conceding a goal.
They recently had a 0-0 draw against IFK Gothenburg, who play at Manchester United tomorrow. Here's Lasso. Sherwood. Good ball, that. Ripley. Matson trying to keep pace with him. Wilcox plays it short. Berg. There was a flag up on this side. I think somebody had just drifted into an offside position.
They have a lot of heading power though, Blackburn. I mean, Chris Sutton there and Alan Shearer, the two strikers, then Hendry and Tony Gall. And of course, if they can get the quality of the crosses right, you do think, apart from the number 3 at the back, they haven't got, that's Christian Carlsen. Trelleborg haven't got a lot to compete against them, but at the moment, just the quality of the crosses and perhaps just isolating the right person hasn't happened, and the Swedish goalkeeper hasn't had a save to make.
Well, Flowers may have to make one here. That's Gale having to see off Sandell, and it's a corner at the other end. Plenty of players to come in on this. It's going to be taken by Blixt. And that left foot shot was by Hansen.
You weren't going to risk any comment about his namesake then being a similar in that range.
No, I'm too concerned about pronouncing the left back right. It's actually Matson. It's the nearest the commentators will get to European football anyway. Lasso on the far side for Blackburn, looking for Brawson with the miss kick. And now it's the Swedes' turn to funnel back. Shearer at the back post brings the first real save. Alan Shearer out of the Polish goalkeeper Jankowski.
It's a very deep cross. Jankowski thinks about coming, but from that range there's got to be some header to beat a goalkeeper like that. And it was a bit of a hanging cross. Good header, but not that dangerous.
Blixt. Up against 3 Blackburn players there in the centre circle. He was beaten by the third one, who is Sherwood. This is Sutton. That's gone to Shearer via a defender.
It's in that position that Sutton just picked that ball up. I'd like to see it more. But this again is that deep cross. I mean, they've definitely got the head in and aerial ability to beat them there. But I think Shearer or Sutton have to come deep and get the ball off the midfield. What they're both doing is actually turning, looking for them over the top, and they've got an alternate between the two of them.
Well, that's possibly one of the messages that the Blackburn coaching staff are trying to get across, because there's lots of shouting coming from the bench. That was Sutton tangling with Carlsen, and Ray Harford in front of Kenny Dalglish there has been quite audible so far. Ripley. Offside. Well, in the linesman's view anyway.
certainly been no better player in the past than Kenny Dalglish to know where to find that sort of space. I mean, Stuart Ripley just coming out, he's caught offside, but Kenny used to drop deep and find that space and sort of get the ball off the midfield and set up all the attacks, a bit like Beardsley does for Newcastle. At the moment, Sutton and Shearer are both pushing up together and no one dropping off to get the ball in that little bit deeper position, and so they can't seem to keep possession and probe and go forward as a team.
Well, he did say in his pre-match quotes, Kenny Dalglish, that it needed to be restated. There are no easy games in Europe, and he may have done the right thing in just warning against any complacency, because after 24 minutes here, the Swedes are holding their own. Here's Shearer though, and this is Sutton. Wilcox, Sherwood out to Lasso, and he's lost possession a couple of times in his anxiety to get forward, and given the Swedish team a chance to counter with Blixt here. Hansen had moved across from right to left. That's forward by Enquist, and the man bringing it out is Colin Hendry. Shearer, Sutton making strides to his left. Hendry is still in the attack. It's Shearer for Blackburn, and Sutton's there, but so is the keeper.
It was a great save that, because Shearer did drop deep, found a bit of space out wide, gets the opportunity to then run at the defence. A sort of a cross-cuff shot, touched on by Sutton, and the keeper just spread himself and it stayed in his stomach. But here, this is where he's so dangerous. Went between the defender's legs, and the goalkeeper, big man, spread himself well.
He's won, I think, 3 caps in earlier days for Poland, the goalkeeper. Now, according to the current trend, the physio is allowed on to assess the injury but not to treat it. Physio's plural, in fact. Ryszard Jankowski, whose reputation in, he is from Poland, his reputation in Sweden is that of a rather eccentric goalkeeper. He has his wild moments, but the greater concern just at the moment is for number 9, Joachim Karlsson, the top goal scorer, whose treatment must take place off the pitch. So they're down to 10 for the time being. Flick on by Sandell. Jason Wilcox in a hurry to get the ball. He dropped right back and took it off Lasso. And this is Berg. Sherwood, and Lasso this time in some space. He's drawn the number 4 right across. Shearer goes in near post, cleared by Karlsson, corner.
Just a little bit deep, that cross. If they could just get nearer the byline, it would help Shearer and Sutton with their heads for goal then.
Well, Sutton is with Hendry here, but the ball won't reach either of them for the moment. Tim Sherwood fires one through the crowd. That's Tony Parks to the right, also on the coaching staff here, well-known Blackburn figure down the years. Berg pumping it forward, but Karlsson, the number 3, is seeing the ball coming onto him a lot at the moment. This is Slater.
Robbie Slater, more the attacking one of the central midfielders, because Batty and Sherwood, when they play together, Tim Sherwood tends to drift forward that little bit more. But Slater and Sherwood at the moment just being hustled out of it and not able to see too much of the ball, and a few anxious faces in the supporters there.
That was Ripley. Yes, in matches like this, the home team often just wants the one goal to settle things down, and it hasn't so far looked like coming from Blackburn. This is Blixt for Trelleborg. Hansen made a good run across the penalty area. Back in again by Severine. This is Carlson. And a hurried clearance by Hendry. But it did land on the head of Sutton. Shearer now in the middle, calling for Ripley's cross. Sutton finds him, in fact. Sutton again, wide for Wilcox. Slater in support. Oh, good header out by Matson. But not a good pass from Blixt. This is Ripley. Shearer's coming in, far side.
We've just seen the two best positions to cross the ball. The first one came from the left, that was Wilcox, and the second one, this one from Ripley. Look at that, right across the face of the goal. Just went too far for Shearer, but they were the best two crosses of the match so far. And I mean, if you can get in those situations behind defences, it's almost impossible to defend against.
So the path to goal more clearly defined now. The question is, can Blackburn tread it rather more often? But here's a break by Hansen, and it's not to say that Flowers has been inactive, because he hasn't. His throw out though is promising for Wilcox. The pass wasn't. Brawson, Enquist, Hendry. Oh, Sherwood didn't seem ready for that, and we've got a break on here. It's Blixt to Carlson. Sandell is in the middle, and it needed that good challenge by Graham Lasso.
It was a good challenge, but he shouldn't really have been allowed to get back to make the challenge. He dwelt a long time. The Trelleborg attacker gave the opportunity to get back to defend, because of course Colin Hendry was caught upfield and out of defence, having just had a misunderstanding in midfield as he surged forward.
Yes, the Trelleborg coach was saying when they trained here last night they were surprised at the pace of the pitch. Apparently their surface in Sweden, the ball doesn't move anything like as quickly. But here are Blackburn moving fairly well. It's Ripley. Berg inside to Sherwood. First time ball to Slater. Berg again, but they can't at the moment string enough passes together to get a more regular service into the two strikers. This is Gale. Sherwood tucking it in. Off by Shearer to Wilcox. Sutton runs on. Oh. Jason Wilcox was a scorer here against Everton on Saturday. But the forward play that Blackburn have shown in the Premiership at home, they found it quite hard to reproduce here, although it's early on in European terms. 32 minutes gone in the first leg of this UEFA Cup tie. Shearer, Sutton's there, Wilcox was there too, Slater out to Lasso. Now can he not one in well here like he did at Wembley? Well, it wasn't quite that good. It was cleared by Magnus Anderson, but Lasso does force a corner for Blackburn, for which Tony Gale comes forward again. Oh, wasn't pinpointed really that at all. Ripley. Forward by Sherwood. Good turn by Sutton. Here he is again. And a corner again. Hendry.
Always dangerous from set pieces. Another one beyond the back post. But the defenders are getting there well. They're sticking to their task, making sure they don't get clear headers. That's all you've got to do, jump up and make sure they don't get a clear sight of goal. And I think the back four, particularly the two central defenders, Anderson and Carlson, playing extremely well at the moment.
Yes, they're resolute, aren't they? And rigorous in their marking. Here's Maatsen. And that's Berg. The Premiership season has started so unbelievably well. It'll be interesting to see how these English clubs fare in Europe this season. This is Sherwood.
That really sums up the first 34 minutes. Everything they've tried to turn the Swedish back four around to get behind them. Never, as quite often I've seen Blackburn do in the past, have they got it in midfield, knocked it short and gone and joined from there and build up a pattern of play. They're trying to get the killer ball through right from the off, and the Swedish back four are saying thanks very much.
Yes, and it's a very orthodox back four as well. There's nothing sort of intricate or sophisticated about it. It's four men in a line. Here's Wilcox though. Lasso gets forward, Sutton's in the middle. Oh. Shearer was there too. This is Slater. Sherwood. Slater goes again.
Not such a good cross that time. From the other side though, Graham Lasso did a magnificent cross. I mean, he is such a superb crosser, whether it be on the run or from an angle, and we saw that of course for England. He whips the ball in at pace, and here from a very tight situation to the far post. And I must say, Maatsen, number 2, has got 3 headers in that position and just got in front of the attacker every time. He's done very well because he's not that tall.
Here comes Hendry. Well, the ball didn't come, that was the problem. And here's Blixt. Severin, Carlson. Shearer turning, Sutton's there, Shearer's onside. Sutton was coming into the 6-yard box, that's who he was trying to pick out.
Just a little bit heavy, the ball from Chris Sutton there. Maatsen had made the initial interception, it broke for Sutton, and he knocked Shearer back into the space that was left with Maatsen out of position. Look, he makes the interception, suddenly he's caught out at left back, but it just knocks him a bit wide, looks at the flag to see if it's up, it's not, and then when he comes in, he just gets blocked off by Carlson.
We had an incident just there where Colin Hendry was penalised for a foul. It looked like handball to me by the number 9, but Trelleborgs have the free kick. Plenty of players lined up as Blix prepares to knock it into the crowd, or beyond the crowd as the case may be, and whether that header was really necessary I doubt, but it's a corner. I think there was a lack of communication somewhere there in the Blackburn defence.
And another indication probably of just the shortcomings of the match so far for them.
Oh, Trelleborg like to line up about 5 players in a crowd. They all rush in together here. Severin was at the front of them and he forces another corner. They'll all go back now to their starting positions. Sutton being asked to do some defending. Carlson is up there, number 3. This is Blixt. And this is Anderson. Carlson's header on. Danger here. The namesake Joachim Carlson is waiting in the centre. This is Blixt. Maatsen. They may have just risked, well, it won't matter now, they just risked one extra player forward there, Trelleborg, but Blackburn didn't have the ball long enough to make them pay for it. Here's Hendry. Wilcox has just drifted into the centre now, behind the two strikers, so Lasso pumps it forward to him, on to Shearer. Now it's Ripley. And again Lasso gets caught in possession, but wins it that well. Berg. Sutton comes short, then goes the other way. Sherwood. Wilcox. Play on. But not then, surely. Hendry is penalised for coming in from behind, although Blackburn felt that they should have had a free kick on the edge of the Swedish penalty area.
I thought that referee did well. Alan Shearer went down thinking that he might have got nosed over from behind. I think he was looking for it, but I think the tackle in the centre of the field that they've got the free kick for, Colin Hendry, did come through the attacker, and I think the referee's doing well up to now. It's getting that longer ball. I mean, both strikers sort of turning and looking for the one over the top, and they're not bad, the back four. They're honest, tenacious, and at the moment that's looking too predictable to break them down.
Well, we're in the last 5 minutes of the first half, and as yet they haven't succeeded in breaking them down. This is Sherwood. He's had as much of the ball as anybody, actually, for Blackburn. Endqvist, Severin, Carlson and Blixt. Four-man move, it could be five now. Hansen is over on the right. Handball. That's Sutton. Different role for Sutton compared to his Norwich one, Trevor, or not?
Well, I think he was, I mean, the central striker then. A lot of the balls were played into him, and probably more often than not this evening they've gone into Alan Shearer, so they have to develop that understanding. This is a problem for me. They keep putting it behind the back four for them to run onto, and the two forward working as a pair in a line together instead of one dropping deep and one going forward. They're not alternating properly.
Lasso, Shearer. Trelleborg have only been playing at top level in Sweden for about 3 years. They've made some progress. Very much a family club where players tend to stay for quite a long time, and their togetherness tonight on the pitch has served them well after 43 minutes of this UEFA Cup tie. They're holding Blackburn Rovers, and here's Endqvist, Carlson, Hansen, Sandell, corner.
I mean, the two strikers, Sandell there, he hasn't had much joy in attack. Also Joachim Carlson, the number 9. But what they have done, they've worked extremely hard when Blackburn's back four got the ball, and they've covered the whole back four, making them hurry and pass and not be able to actually construct a move and push forward to help the attacking play for Blackburn. Those two have worked hard without actually looking as if they've been in the game that much.
Severin in at the near post. But, I think he was perhaps holding his man down a bit. Tony Gale picks out Ripley. Well, certainly Blackburn would have hoped to have extended the Trelleborg goalkeeper rather more. They've just forced the one really good save out of him. Wilcox, Sherwood, Lassau's come on, it's been given away though, and it's caught Blackburn out of position, and Lassau did well to win it back where he did, but this could turn into a goal scoring chance. Sutton's on the end of it. No, he's not, it's Carlson. They had players in the box there, Blackburn.
Well, that man there has been a key figure, hasn't he? Christian Carlson, the number 3. Had a lot of crosses in there, and just as on that occasion, he was there, anticipated perfectly, and away it went.
We're playing time added on for stoppages at the end of the first half. Play on there, says the German referee. And as yet, Blackburn unable to open their European account. Sherwood. Brawson not making that. Slater. Ripley joining Shearer in the centre here. Sherwood. Sutton rolling it out, and it's just too long for Shearer.
Well, a shake of the head by Lassau. It was too good a cross for everyone. He just hit it so early. I mean, look, he gets the ball wide and he knows there's going to be space. He puts it in early. Probably it was just skimmed off the surface and Shearer couldn't get onto it. But he is a good crosser. These things so quickly.
So the half-time whistle goes, and Kenny Dalglish has some work to do in the dressing room. The first 45 minutes of Blackburn Rovers' life in Europe has not produced the goal or goals that their supporters might have expected, and Trelleborg of Sweden walk off pretty satisfied, I would think, with a half-time score of 0-0. We'll respond to that for the time being, because more important is the fact there are no substitutes on in the second half at the moment, and so it's as you were. Trelleborg will now play from left to right, attacking the end where there are no spectators. Maybe Blackburn will gain some strength from the fact that there are supporters packed behind the goal that they're now attacking. But attack has got to be the watchword for Kenny Dalglish's team, with the second leg in Sweden still to come. This is Wilcox. There goes Sutton. Shearer's on the far side of the area. Sutton goes down. Corner given.
Great tackle by the number 3 yet again there. Christian Carlson is in a dangerous area. He's in the penalty area. You must time it properly. He got the ball and the man went down, but it was a perfectly timed tackle.
Well, I think it was. Hendry has come forward for the corner, and he's coming in now. And Slater was there. Now, can Blackburn really get fired up in this opening period of the second half before the Swedish team adopt the sound shape that they showed from about the 10th minute of the first half? It's usually a good time to catch a side, and they force the corner, for which Gale and Hendry come forward again to join Shearer and Sutton. The shot was by Sherwood.
Quite a bit more noise from that end of the field, of course, and that might lift the attacking players. As you can see, just the chest down there. The right foot comes in. I think he gets the ball and then the man, and for me, a perfect tackle.
No question about that. The ball was played quite cleanly by Carlson, and the referee was right Lasso. Sherwood. Berg. Sutton will get the free kick this time though. This is Sherwood and this is Lasso. That's happened a lot of times, you know, on this side of or rather on Lasso's side of the pitch. Seems to have been shut down a lot, particularly by Hansen, number 6. As it happens on this occasion, they can work it out on the far side with Berg, who's looking for Shearer, but not finding him. Well, Blackburn have looked, up to now, all too predictable, I have to agree.
See, I don't think Tim Sherwood should get the ball that deep there. I think he and Robbie Slater have now got to take the chance and start going beyond the front two.
It's bounced well for Shearer, that. Sutton's in the middle and so is Wilcox. It's a corner.
I don't think it's any coincidence having watched Newcastle in their first half and in the match. All 5 goals were scored by midfielders, and you've got to have people now, I think, running beyond the front two, because it didn't work for them the first half just playing in front.
No, it's all coming on to the big number 3, isn't it? Carlson. He's having an absolutely splendid night, because we'll wait and see whether it lasts. Oof. Play on. Referee was right to give an advantage there to Lasso. Sutton. Wilcox had moved inside here.
He was unlucky. He did the hard work. Good dummy on the edge of the area to make the space for the shot. As you can see, look, stepped over it, got the shoot in space now, but didn't quite catch it, got blocked down and span quietly to the goalkeeper.
I must say I'm impressed with the way the Swedish team defend in a group. They really do seem to block the spaces. And the onus is on Blackburn to be more imaginative. Here's Slater. Berg. Ripley. Sherwood. And still, Shearer's offside. He's offside. No goal.
But it came from Tim Sherwood, just moving forward. There he is with the ball. Goes into the penalty area on the edge of it there, just clips it across. He's always offside, isn't he, Alan Shearer? A yard or two. And they're beginning to get more numbers forward, and that, of course, will occupy the defenders who up to now have just had Shearer and Sutton to cope with.
Linesman right, he was standing offside as the attack built up. Brawson. Carlson. Inside by Hansen, and on for Sandell, and this is Hansen. Well, there's a very dull edge about the Blackburn performance at the moment. They've just got themselves into a rut. But it may soon change, you never know. Sutton is getting frustrated and has retaliated, and that's not what they're looking for. He was penalised for the initial challenge on Carlson, Chris Sutton, and then raised his hands, which is a very dangerous thing to do in European football. It may well be that the player overreacted. That's not quite the full story. Carlson went down, and a yellow card is shown to Chris Sutton, and I can't argue with that decision, Trevor.
Well, you see them both go up. I mean, he looks as if he's caught. It's the arm across the face. I mean, he did catch him with the forearm. I don't think there was a lot of contact, but with your arm up, obviously he got up early. There's no damage facially, and it looks as if I think they've both got the yellow card.
Well, actually, there was some further retaliation after that initial challenge. I think that's what caught the referee's eye. There was some pushing and shoving even when they came down from the original jump there, and that's really why they've both been cautioned. Carlson goes up with Hendry. Sure, most of our viewers are well acquainted with the yellow card rules. They apply very much in Europe as they do normally on domestic football. A second one in this match would mean a red. But it's getting a bit lively now. Magnus Andersson is the offender this time. Sutton was again the target. But while the concentration is rattled a bit here, which it is for Trelleborg, little shove, Blackburn might just capitalise. Free kick. Oh, that's interesting. Haven't seen a free kick taken quite like that before, but it didn't quite come off.
Bit of basketball there between the two players, but the goalkeeper joined in as well and said thanks a lot for the cross.
Well, I've heard of a kick-in replacing a throw-in, but not quite that sort of prelude to a free kick.
There's a bit of the variety that we've been asking for, but not quite what we had in mind.
No, not quite. Free kick now to Trelleborg. Severin's up there, so is Carlson. Free kick. Forward by Wilcox, looking for Shearer.
Well, it hasn't changed, has it? I mean, Jason Wilcox has the chance there to perhaps knock it in short, but I'm not sure that either of the front strikers are taking that alternation to actually come off and link up the play from there. And I think they've got to push up all as a unit. They're still, I think, defending too deep.
Well, that's Ripley trying to get behind them on the far side, but their game plan there, Trelleborg, seems to have so far worked. Cutting down the supply line. Shearer. It hit Carlson, crowd behind the goal with hopeful shouts for handball, not from the players it might be said. And Trelleborg come out of defence only as far as Hendry, and he gives it back to them, and Carlson's on a run here, so is Sandell on the far side. They've got a man over on the near side. Carlson lets it run. This is Hansen. If his first touch had been better, there was a real shooting chance there for the Swedes. Brawson now. Wilcox for Blackburn. Sutton. Wilcox. Wide to Ripley. Shearer in the box. Slater.
Well, it broke down in the end, but it was the first build-up play where actually Chris Sutton came off, got it back to Wilcox, and he spread the ball, and the actual pattern of the play was much better just for the first time, and just because one of the strikers came short.
It's a bit frantic now, isn't it, in both halves of the field. It's probably livened the game up in a certain fashion for the crowd. Whether it's to Blackburn's advantage, we'll wait and see.
Here's Alan Shearer's shot. It bit too much room, I would have thought, and seemed to just go into the top of the thighs, didn't it? He was trying to keep his arms out of the way, and the linesman, he's placed that side. He was in a perfect position. He didn't put his flag up, so we go with that.
Trying to get Ripley in again on the far side, and this time he forces the corner.
Well, the man tackling back there Oh, that's Carlson, but the one before that was Blix. I mean, he's the left midfielder. He's ganged up as a double defensive duo to shut down the space for Ripley.
That's Berg lifting it in. It's going to run though.
I mean, tactically, at home, Trelleborg will have to think about whether they're going to be a bit more positive with their midfield people. I mean, they're doing an excellent job defensively and they're keeping it 0-0, and they could well go back 0-0, but you can see that Ray Harford is trying to change the pattern, because at the moment it is almost going along the same lines as the first half.
Yes, I can understand his agitation. It's forward by Berg. Trelleborg have acquitted themselves a lot better than many people, even in their own country, were expecting. Probably more than they were expecting themselves, in all honesty. They've survived for nearly an hour, but this is Wilcox. Sutton. Shearer. Oh, Slater running on.
Good strike. I think Robbie Slater could do that all the rest of this match. Just get forward and be the extra attacker all the time. He came very late there, and because it's a tight angle, I mean, it was a save that Jankowski should have made.
Well, he made it, and Blackburn have a corner. Alan Shearer really got in well there and forced the goalkeeper to make another save. It's building up here a bit for Blackburn. Shearer, yes, good header, tip over. Another one. Oh. Well, that's 2 for Shearer and 2 for the goalkeeper.
Well, this one, he's given too much space, isn't he? Just a free header almost, but unfortunately just straight at the goalie.
This is Hansen. Shearer again to Sutton. Wilcox. Sutton, no. Well, this goalkeeper, the only full-time professional on the Trelleborg strength, Jankowski. He is, as I said earlier on, Polish, and whenever you see a Polish goalkeeper performing, that was a fairly straightforward save, but when you see him making saves like the one earlier, you're reminded that Polish goalkeepers have thwarted English forwards in the past. Gone then at Ewood Park in the UEFA Cup, and the Swedish players who spent the morning sightseeing in Blackpool, if you'd told them it was going to be 0-0 after an hour, they'd have been mighty pleased. Not so Blackburn Rovers, who at the moment are not doing a lot to justify their Premiership reputation. But here's Sutton. They might now. It's Shearer. It's Ripley. Oh, Sherwood's in there.
Ripley's cross just taken a deflection that threw the Swedish defence off guard. Hit the shot well enough, again straight at the keeper, who's holding on to most things, isn't he? But at least Sherwood, as well as another midfielder, was in that penalty area, beginning to get extra numbers forward, which is going to make it that much harder for the Trelleborg defenders.
Here's Lasso. Well, I've got to say the Blackburn supporters are giving their team every encouragement. This is Lasso again. Sutton. Brawson is with him, that's a foul by Sutton.
Well, he's backing into the defender, just tries to do the little back flick. He was waiting for it though, wasn't it, the defender? I think also, yeah, somebody like Sutton will be helped again if you get somebody running beyond him, past him, just to make the defender think, well, is he going to play it there or what? The fact that nobody is running either side of him makes it fairly obvious that the forward himself's got to try and do something and go past him.
Well, when Norwich were doing well in Europe last season with Sutton in the side, two things were happening. Ikoku's pace alongside him was vital because Sutton was flicking it on for him, and Jeremy Goss was doing the damage from midfield, wasn't he?
Well, he used to run beyond them, didn't he? And you know, they certainly passed the ball through the midfield better than Blackburn are doing this evening. Blackburn are actually almost bypassing the midfield, trying to get behind the back four by locking it longer, which is unusual. I haven't seen Blackburn play quite often like this. I was expecting them to knock it and pass it around, and that's what you would expect in the sort of European competition particularly, but they haven't done that, and they have struggled.
Yes, it is a different game, whatever people say, in Europe. And it goes from Berg. Slater, Sherwood, Lasso. Now then, they've got four ahead of him here, Sherwood. Sutton with Lasso in support. This is Wilcox. No, it's not. It's just about now, you know, when Kenny Dalglish may be regretting the Blackburn injury list. If you think of the people who might have been available to him here, like Newell and Warhurst, to change perhaps an attacking player or bring on an extra one, maybe more to the point. Gallagher as well, although of course he would increase the number of foreign players. Ripley. He's having a run there at Maatsen, but Carlson is happy to come round behind the left back, stroke it away. Enquist. And now Severin up to Sandell. Now good running on this side by Hansen. It's Sandell again. Danger here for Blackburn, and Flowers forced to make a save from Sandell.
Well, that was good support play, you see. They'd played two little triangles, got it off the front man and joined, and then they ran at the defender. And I mean, Tim Flowers, good positioning and pulled it down, but you know, they were knocking it into feet much better than Blackburn have done throughout the evening.
Wilcox. And again. Sutton. Good turn. Shearer far side. That's where he's aiming it. That's Shearer. This is Sherwood. No, it's not. It's Carlson. And it's Severin. And the referee has penalised the Blackburn player. Robbie Slater claiming he went for the ball. The reaction of the Blackburn crowd, not exactly good-natured to the injury. But there was a chance here for Sandell at the other end, you know. In fact, they had two or three players in good positions in this attack. He tried to curl it, didn't he?
Yeah, didn't give it enough width, and so it curled in towards Tim Flowers. You need to start them outside the goal so that they come in late. This is the injury here, was half-headed up, looked as if Slater was going to get onto it, but he defended well. He just got the first hook away, and at full stretch, that's where he's picked up the injury. But it was the right decision.
So Severin has to leave the field for treatment. In the meantime, three of the Trelleborgs players came to the touchline for water. Shades of the World Cup, but a very different temperature, I might add. And the 10 men of Trelleborgs continue the fight. Which is the away team. I suppose you have to say they're winning on points at the moment. Free kick to Blackburn, though, taken quickly by Wilcox. This is Berg. Slater. Ripley. No. The aforesaid injured player is walking around the touchline and appears to be wanting to come back on. In the meantime, it's Wilcox. Left foot shot, going away.
Severine coming on, but to booze because he's recovered so quickly. But Jason Wilcox just dragging that shot, no danger.
Sandell for Trelleborg. It's Blixt outside him. Carlson on this side. That's who he's aimed at. It's a good cross, and there's Carlson. Shearer, good turn, foul. Well, there's Tom Prahl, a gymnastics and games teacher in Sweden, 45 years old. He'll be proud of his team at this stage. But for the moment, they've got to defend again because Gale and Hendry are on their way forward. Lifted in towards Tony Gale. Out again to Henningberg. Hendry stays forward for the moment. Now then, Hendry challenged the defender who went down holding his face. The referee chose not to take any action. This is Wilcox. A little shove maybe on the far side. And it's Blixt. Berg into Sherwood. Sutton tries to find Shearer. Appeals for handball. Well, it's all fairly lively at the moment. Hendry has decided, I think quite rightly, that the attack needs a bit of a boost. He's not he's not wrong in that respect, and he seems to have chosen to go and play up there for a moment or two. He might have to get back now then. This is Carlson. And the as if to reply to that, the number 3 from Trelleborg is forward here, Carlson.
It's difficult now to get the balance because one or two men charging forward for Blackburn, perhaps at the wrong time, and what they can't afford is to actually concede a sloppy goal and actually lose that one goal at home. But they desperately need to leave here with certainly one in the bag themselves, and at the moment they're defending very well as they did the whole of the first half. Tenacious, they're getting in front, and certainly Christian Carlson, the number 3, has been superb in the air and has won most things.
Well, they're on very low wages, these part-timers. There might be one or two English managers watching this and thinking, is there another bargain to be picked up in Sweden? Bobby Mims, the substitute goalkeeper. Mike Newell next to him is out of action still at the moment, but hoping to start training very soon. He's only 24, Christian Carlson, and he looks a very assured central defender, I've got to agree with you. Meantime, it's Lasso for Blackburn. Wilcox, Hendry. And here is Carlson again, and he's taking the chance to get forward, and you can almost see the confidence growing throughout the match of the Swedish team. There's Sandell. Oh, he's through! Great chance here for Trelleborg. It's Sandell, and he scored! It's the shot away goal that only a moment ago Trevor Brookings said was a possibility, and Kenny Dalglish and Ray Harford are in real difficulties here. Sandell, who wouldn't have played if the first choice striker had been fit, gets away from Colin Hendry, bears down on goal. It's not as easy perhaps as it looks this. It's slightly behind him in the end when he hits it, and he beats Tim Flowers.
Well, it was a sucker putt, but 2 good feet, touches it with his right, then carries it in one motion with his left, so he gets away from the defence, picks his spot perfectly and off the post, and that, as I say, the classic counter-attack, and now that is just what Blackburn didn't want, and they must get a goal back if at all possible. I mean, to go 1-0 down.
Well, this could be the moment, while Trelleborgs are still perhaps pinching themselves to see if they can believe what's happened. Alan Shearer has put the ball down very deliberately and walked back a few paces. Sherwood is behind him. There's a left footer in there as well. I think it's Wilcox. And Shearer blazes over the bar. Well, this is a goal that will shake Europe if it's not cancelled out.
They took it very well, but they were just getting anxious, throwing the extra man forward, and of course elation there and with the Trelleborgs rest of the squad, and now there's a bounce in their step, isn't there, and Blackburn has somehow got to turn the tide of this game, and they've struggled from the off, and at the moment you just wonder if they can get the equaliser.
Well, it's quite extraordinary what's happened, isn't it? I mean, 0-0 was almost beyond Trelleborgs' wildest dreams, to actually find themselves leading. Anyway, Flowers pumps it forward in what is now desperation for the Premiership side. Shearer wins it. Sutton in the middle. Sherwood well forward. Sherwood, Slater, in by Lasso. Shearer's waiting for this to drop. It's cleared hurriedly, and Hendry needs to win it. Now then, there was some shoving on the edge of the area there, in the referee's opinion, and Blackburn get a free kick. Shearer was the player jostled. It's a free kick in an even more dangerous position.
Graham Lassau's left foot, I would think, from here.
Yes, Lasso, I think. Wilcox, the other left footer, has walked away, and the angle would beckon Lasso here. Shearer's nearly on the goal line. And Lasso, and turned over by the Polish-born keeper.
He hit it well enough, but I mean, the goalkeeper was waiting. There was no power there, was there?
Well, Jason Wilcox has gone across to take the corner. Sutton coming in from a deeper position behind Gale. And Colin Hendry again lending his height to the attack, but he won't be very pleased with the counter, which left him and the Blackburn defence exposed. Here's the corner.
Well, he was always dangerous at set pieces. That was well beyond the far post, but again, every time a cross has come over, the defender of the Trelleborgs side has always been up there competing. They've very rarely allowed a clear header.
Well, a real turn-up here at Ewood Park at the moment. Wilcox. So it needed to go in early, but it wasn't accurate. Handball, was it? Hendry. Just wondering about substitutions here. Ian Pearce, the versatile six-footer, is on the bench for Blackburn. He can go up front. Is it worth throwing on an extra attacker, or is that too dangerous?
Well, I mean, you got possibility, but I mean, it's more the supply for me at the moment from midfield. I mean, it's okay, you can just continue to knock high balls in there, and it just means there's an extra head to try and aim for. But unless you're getting runners from midfield and occupying the defenders because they're getting extra options, it's becoming too predictable. And for me, the back four of Trelleborg look quite capable of dealing with the high crosses.
Well, they scored right on cue for you, and their defence is doing just as well as you suggested. Hansen, and here comes Severin, and Hendry diving in a bit there. About 12 and a half minutes for Blackburn Rovers to turn round this home leg, which a lot of people felt would be something of a formality. I'm not saying Kenny Dalglish thought that, he said differently, but all the optimism earlier in the week is looking a little misplaced now. And the crowd who did Blackburn proud earlier on are now beginning to show their frustration. Severin. Good skill, and he's got help outside if he can find Michael Hansen, and he has.
But all they did there was knock it into somebody's feet and join, and the passing and the movement that I was expecting from Blackburn, similar to that, just hasn't been there. I can hardly remember where you've had a passing move where they've knocked it into somebody's feet, somebody from midfield has joined, and they've got beyond the Swedish defenders. It's been too predictable.
Yeah, the trouble with that, of course, is that it sometimes works in the Premiership. Although we may be seeing that change a bit this season. This is Berg, and that's Sutton, and it is still Sutton. Now, did he handle that, or was he pushed? He handled it. Free kick, quickly taken, and Trelleborg are away. Wilcox. Oh, it ran on for Ripley. Sutton's in the middle, so is Shearer. Corner.
He's done very well, the number 2, Matson, again is quick. It's gone beyond him, the crossfield ball. He's got back, shut Ripley down and done his job. There he is, getting his tackle in. There's a corner kick, but they've just got to defend it as they've done all the way up in these opening 80 minutes.
Tony Gale up there. Ripley also. This is Sherwood. It's out.
I still think Blackburn are quite capable of coming through this tie, because I don't believe they could play quite as badly or as obviously as they have this evening. And all right, it's 1-0, but I mean, Blackburn are very good on the counter-attack, or you normally pass the ball much better than they have this evening, and perhaps they might relax that a little bit more. Just the first game into Europe, whether they were expected to come through and took it a little bit relaxed early on, and then you can't regain the initiative from there. But Kenny, I'm sure, will not be pleased the way they've squandered possession.
This is Sutton. Shearer goes into the centre. This is Ripley. Still Ripley. Sherwood's there. Shearer's there. Wilcox is there.
Well, that sums up everything so far. Ripley does well to get the cross in after a deflection. Just bounces, it won't come down then for Shearer, and Wilcox has to snatch at it. 4 defenders though closing him down.
Forward by Berg. Here he is again.
Sista nu! Våga spela!
Ripley. Sherwood. And again. And Shearer tucking it back into Sherwood here. He's held up, but in the referee's opinion, not fouled. And it's a breakout by Blixt for Trelleborg. And they won't mind that at this stage of the evening. 82 minutes, Blackburn 0, Trelleborg 1.
Well, we wonder whether they might tire later on in the game, but I mean, when you get a goal away from home to take the lead here against Blackburn Rovers, suddenly they all gained an extra yard of enthusiasm and zest, which will carry them through to the final whistle.
Some Sherwood. And chipped in towards Chris Sutton here. And he's still there. There will be people watching who will wonder, if you've spent £27 million on players, why you haven't got substitutes to come on and change all this. I have to say that may have something to do with the Blackburn injury list. Whether that's the entire story is another matter. As it is, I'm not too far away from the truth, because we're going to have a whole succession of substitutions down here now. We've got Patrick Larson preparing to come on for Trelleborg. Mark Atkins is standing there to come on for Blackburn, and I think Lee Makel as well. Yes, 1 on for the Swedes and 2 on for Blackburn. Robbie Slater comes off, and the captain Sherwood.
Well, the substitutions suggest Kenny Dalglish isn't particularly happy with the midfield this evening. Tim Sherwood, Robbie Slater have found it very, very difficult to get into the game, although they have been bypassed quite often, but they haven't been joining, going beyond the front two. And so Mark Atkins is more a defensive midfielder, but the youngster Lee Makel is more of a creative, so perhaps he might add the little bit of subtlety needed.
Here's Sutton. Handball, no, free kick the other way for the foul. The two substitutes actually are now round the ball. Atkins, is it? Preparing to shoot from behind the other two. He didn't shoot, he played it square to Lasso, who did shoot!
Well, that was one of those amusing ones, wasn't it? Out of a chaotic mix-up from the free kick, where you thought, well, no one knew what was happening there. Graham Lasso suddenly conjured up a shot, and probably another yard or two further out it would have dipped under the crossbar, and probably the best long-range strike of the evening.
Well, that was precisely the point we were making about the substitutions, that maybe it was the midfield that needed a little bit of refreshing, and Atkins and Makel have come on, but it's quite late in the day for anybody to impose themselves on the match now. Sutton, oh, he's played ever so well, the number 7, Severine, next to the number 3, Carlson. He's probably been their best player. And ball given. That's Sutton, and here's Shearer. Oh, and Atkins following up there. It's a corner. Sutton's coming in. Oh, and on the line. Alan Shearer blocked by the goalkeeper.
Well, right into the middle of the goal there. The header down, and it just tries to hook it in. Shearer, the goalkeeper, does very well, Jankowski, to keep his eye on the ball. You can easily just anticipate something and take your eye off it, and it slips through your hands.
Well, there were a few hands raised behind the goal from supporters who thought Shearer was certain to score. Here's Ripley. Perhaps he'll get a chance here again. And perhaps he won't.
There he is. Just bounced too high, really, to get the touch, and good goalkeeping and good defending. Both defenders alongside, just protecting him. And I mean, it's been a terrific result for them, and just as much as it's a disappointment for the home side.
Yes, you'd have got long odds this morning against Blackburn failing to register their first European goal tonight, but they've only got to just over 2 minutes in which to do so now. Here's Hendry. Makel. Sutton. Atkins. Berg. Sutton's header in. Shearer's there. Sutton. Makel. Gale finds Berg. Makel, a former Newcastle player, in fact. Here's the So's cross. There's Hendry. Well, not quite the script that Ewood Park was expecting to see enacted tonight. Into the last minute of the 90 in this first leg of the UEFA Cup, and Blackburn Rovers trail on their own territory 1-0 to a team who, like themselves, are playing in Europe for the first time this season. Here's Carlson. Lasso it was who slipped. They've got two players coming in. Sandell heads it on, and it was the number 13 who's just come on, Patrick Larson, who was close to number 2 there. Shearer, good turn. Not a good pass to Sutton, though. Wilcox. Free kick. Atkins taken from behind. This could be Blackburn's last chance. It's Lasso.
He's blocked off the ball down the line. Now, they like to get it to Wilcox and Ripley to the feet very early, and what the wide midfielder has done is just stopped it going there all the time.
It's Sutton. Blackburn appealing in real desperation there for a penalty. It's Berg. Stoppage time. Sutton. Hendry, the auxiliary attacker, had the strike.
Well, Hendry, of course, does like to drift forward, has played centre forward in his time on his day, but it's going to be one of those days, isn't it? 10 goals in their 3 home league matches, and here we are with the blank night in Europe.
Well, the Swedish part-timers will go back to their jobs tomorrow, the carpenter and the auditor and the storekeeper and the lorry driver, and they'll think they've done jolly well, and that's Carlson who could make it even better here. It's all valuable time for them now. Trelleborg. The man down is Atkins.
Yeah, this was the tackle in midfield. He just slides in then, and having made contact, whether he's caught his shin, his ankle or what, I don't know, but he's lain very still since then.
It was Severine, the number 7, who challenged him, wasn't it? And one of the Blackburn substitutes then is now down, and people starting to leave, with the match well into injury time anyway. And if Europe is sometimes a rude awakening for clubs, then I'm sure Blackburn will feel that they must have learned something tonight. Quite what they've learned, Trevor Brooking, perhaps you can tell us.
Well, I think they've studied Blackburn, haven't they? They've looked at Ripley and Wilcox. They like it to feet very quickly. The two fullbacks push up and support, and so they like to get it out wide from them. And what they've done, they've shown them the inside, said, look, you're not getting it to their feet, come and knock it inside. And that's what they've done. They've knocked it long and actually played into the hands of a very strong back four on the night. Number 3 in particular, Christian Carlson has played very, very well to the higher balls. And the surprise has been Blackburn haven't had an alternative then. Once they can't get it to the wide men to feet, where do we go from here? We just knock it in long. And I would have thought they'd have passed it much better through the midfield.
There's Sutton. So what you're really saying is you can have a strike force that's cost over £8 million, but you've got to give them some service. And that one might do it. Sutton, no, it's a free kick against him. The £5 million man and the £3.3 million man alongside him have had a fruitless night.
Well, they have. I think, as well as getting a good service, I think they've got to just offer up a bit of a variation. I think they've been along a line together, both making runs behind the back four, not one going deep, and not perhaps interpassing as a pair that often, and probably linked in, and at the moment that movement up front as a pair hasn't looked quite right. It might just be one of those off nights. This is the first time I've seen them working together, and at the moment it's not been quite on the same wavelength.
Well, we're still playing. That's a long cross by Lasso, headed out by Carlson. Seem to have said that somewhere before. Atkins finds Lasso in the 94th minute now, and still there's hope, or is there? Referees encouraged to play the full time that has been wasted by UEFA and FIFA. But that's all they're going to get, Blackburn, and the arms go up on behalf of the Swedish players. A real result for them. Kenny Dalglish with plenty to think about. Carlson at the back, number 3, outstanding, absolutely safe as a rock there. The goalkeeper did well when called upon, and Trelleborgs, the part-timers who've never tasted anything like this before, have distinguished themselves